Mindfulness for Resilience with Mary-Jo Fetterly, funded by the Craig H. Nielsen Foundation and brought to you by SCI&U for Healthy Living.
For today, we're going to be consciously taking our time to bring awareness to the breath. And I will say that you can really allow yourself to remember that that breath is really the fundamental piece of life. I've said this before, but it's really this kind of constant in an ever-changing world. Our breath connects us to the world, to each other, to the trees that are breathing, the plants that are breathing, to all of the different attributes of the life force, which really rely on this beautiful mechanism, really, of staying alive that really is so fundamental to living. We're going to use the same skills that we used throughout our practice of friendliness and just this curiosity. And we're going to develop that as we focus a little bit more attention today on a really simple practice of noticing the breath. Athletes, I've said this before too, athletes, musicians, midwives, healers, leaders, singers, everybody that is, kind of in the know knows about breath. Even the Navy SEALs. I'm just reading this great book on resilience. And of course they use the breath too, to focus and to bring themselves into a calm state so that they can do what they need to do. So that's what we're going to be working with today. So allow yourself to find, actually I was going to say, I would really encourage you to think about this as something that's a tool that you can use, not just when we practice right now, but that this concept of just bringing yourself into your breath awareness, and maybe even just taking 3 slow conscious breaths, is something you can do all day long. And as a couple of you have mentioned now, that you're doing it before you go to sleep. And you may find that, 3 isn't enough. I'd like to stay with this and do a little bit more. So I invite you and encourage you to think about this not as an isolated piece, what we're looking at today, and also throughout the practice of mindfulness. So we can always pause and slow down and just take that conscious breath. So we're going to do that right now. So also I just want to remind you to be patient. Because this comes with practice, and this is like learning a new skill, a new sport, a new language, a new instrument. The more you do it, the more practice you attend to it, the better you get at it. So let's practice. I'm going to invite you to find your most comfortable sitting position and find that position of dignity and grace within your being, where you feel just into those attributes of who and what you are. And establish just a very simple sense of presence. So just allow yourself to let all of those attributes just be knowing to you. Kindness, curiosity, attention to your sensory body. And now take 2 full breaths. And relax your body as they release. And notice the state of your mind, and just bring your kind attention there. And you could even bring that half smile of kindness to the outer corners of your eyes. And just relax into the state you're in right now. Nothing to change, really, just to notice with that kind, curious attention. And as you notice now, I invite you to again take some breath, but take 3 very deep, relaxing breaths. No force. And just noticing as you do so your body as it fills with your breath and as it empties. And at the end of your 3rd breath, just allow your breath to resume its natural rhythm, keeping your eyes closed, and just notice that as you adjust. And now notice where you feel the breath in your body, where you feel it most easily and naturally, the rhythm of your breath. And just rest your kind attention there for the next moment, where you feel your breath moving in your body. If it's difficult to feel the breath, perhaps you could put your hands on your belly and see if you can notice the gentle rise and fall of the navel, moving in and out. Noticing this breath. And noticing this breath. And as you notice that gentle movement of the breath in your body, you can also allow yourself to come back to the breath if you are aware of something else, such as the mind takes you away and you're thinking and you forget about your breath. That's okay. And just gently bring your awareness back. Noticing the sensation of the breath. Excuse me. Can be louder than your mind. And I invite you to feel the breath in ways that you may not notice. Perhaps you may notice the coolness and then the warmth of the breath moving in and out. Perhaps you may notice the breath moving across the back of your throat. As you do so, relax the inside of your cheeks and the jaw. Soften the whole facial muscle. Perhaps adding a gentle grin to the outer corners of your mouth as you continue to notice the movement of your breath. And now, with your conscious awareness, take 3 more breaths and focus entirely on those 3 breaths. Just your normal breathing rhythm, but very focused awareness of the movement, the sensation, the action. And relax your awareness to the greater body of sensations, noticing the mind, the heart, the state of your being. And then do that again, but this time notice 5 breaths. So stretch your awareness to continue to be aware of 5 breaths. Good. Each exhale relaxing you deeper. And notice the state of your mind now. Still aware of your breathing. Allow yourself to, in this last moment, just be with the conscious movement of your own natural rhythm of breathing. Good. And as you come out, just allow yourself that beautiful kind of slowness, if you will, of just reorientating yourself back into the room. Feeling where you are now, noticing. And then as we gather back together again in this collected practice of mindfulness, I'd just like to really appreciate the effort that you're making to learn this, because it isn't easy necessarily to become mindful in a world where doing things kind of rather quickly and unconsciously is somewhat the norm. So bravo. And again, be so very patient with yourself as you continue to, integrate some of these practices into your day-to-day living, because I think that's really where we see the most benefit from it, where you take 3 breaths before you have to write that tricky email, or you just take 3 slow breaths before you have to talk to your teenager, or you take, a couple conscious breaths before you need to discuss something, tricky with a caregiver or a healthcare professional. So I invite you to think about this as a very practical way to not only build choice and capacity for you to respond with greater clarity, greater ease, greater wisdom, but also that will give you a sense of, I'm grounded, I'm steady, and I'm calm, and I can meet this situation with that wisdom and with that particular countenance. And of course, we invite your questions or comments, anything that you may want to add.
Ask and you may receive.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Mary-Jo. So I have kind of an odd question, but that's why I was saving it till the end, because people can stay or go, but it is related. So last week you were talking about intuition and our sixth sense, and you've been talking a lot about the energy around our bodies. And so I've been doing some research and ways that I can practice and do things better. Because because I'm having a really hard time struggling with it because my mind wanders and it's a very busy mind. So I looked in and I read different ways to, I learned, long story, I learned about positive and negative ions. And, you know, if you go up in the, how nature helps us as well. And then I know this is kind of weird, but then I got a crystal here. Okay. And for some reason, and I don't know why, but if you watch, for some reason, my energy is incredible. I don't know. Is it high enough for you to see? Can you see or, okay, let me put this down a bit. Okay. So it's a crystal, but you can do it with a diamond ring or whatever. I think you probably know what I'm talking about.
I
so
do,
for some reason, my energy is just incredible right now. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. It's moving all on its own. I promise. People think I'm making this up. So then if somebody comes near me, the energies change. Do you have any idea what's going on? Like the energy in my body, like it changes.
Yeah. So there's something in the field of somatics, which is the study of the body and the sensory body. And that's called attunement. And attunement is really when we go out into nature. I'm sure you've heard of the Japanese practice of bathing, of forest bathing. So you're basically you're out and you're not naked, obviously, but when you're out in nature, we absorb these gorgeous qualities of calmness and sort of groundedness just vicariously. I think most of us, when we're in nature, we feel better. Now we don't say, "Oh, this is because I did this, that," but what the science around energy and magnetism and all of these different things would say is that we're receiving some of that those which would be negative ions in this case, that sort of positive energy. But it sounds like it's negative.
It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So in any case, I think you need to think about it this way. So if you were in a concert hall and you were listening to a symphony, you would feel that sound in your body. You would notice the vibration. And we do know that our nervous system is electrical. So is our heart. And so electricity, and as Einstein would say, energy is boundless. It moves through things. It can't be created nor destroyed. And everything is energy. So, the crystal has energy, so does the tree, so does the dog, so does your heart. So I think it's important not to think of this as really weird. It's just normal energy. And what you've done is you've found something that actually contributes to you feeling better. And crystals I love too. I have lots of them around my house. So there's lots of research on that. You could go look that up, but I won't go too much further, just to say everything is energy. So the more you can figure out how to attune to good energy, the better.
Yeah, because it's really weird. I can do that around a rock or something. You're right. Like everything has energy. It's amazing. Yeah.
And the more you become aware and conscious, the more your energetic body comes alive. So, that's one of the benefits of doing mindfulness, is because you tap into your aliveness and to that beautiful life force of energy that you are.
Well, that's really interesting. Thank you. And by the way, I know, I know there's more than 5 proven senses. You talk about a 6th sense, there's a 7th, 8th, and 9th. I don't know how many, but I know because I've experienced more than the 5 proven senses. And it might be a bit of an aside, but I'm not sure why the Western world can't get past the 5 proven senses. But
well, they have a Descartes kind of Cartesian model of the body, and it's changing. I think there's a lot of good research that's starting to, to take that Western sort of very limited allopathic view of the body as being this, skeleton that doesn't have a relationship from the head down to the body, and changing it. But it's, it's a slow moving engine, and it's actually a slow moving old freight train, old coal train.
Thank you.
Yeah, my question was, and I suppose it's along what Kim was talking about, is controlling your pain, and how I've done it before with a psychologist is, and maybe you might have something to add, was this energy thing, and pain is energy, I believe. And that's the way I believe in it and try and help me deal with it, because it's very severe nerve pain. And so, how my psychologist helped me do that is when I was in her office and had really severe pain. So she's helping me through it. Instead of talking, she got me to the breathing. And then she started saying, think of your pain of just, it's not going to stay forever. It's ever changing energy. And it's ever changing, and it's ever changing. And I don't know if you have anything to add. I found that helped me, but I don't know if you have anything to add to coping with chronic pain.
It's a great question, and it's probably the top of the list question for mindfulness and meditation teachers. And it's a really, really rich area for us to work in with these practices. So I will say that you're on the right track doing mindfulness. In the moment, but for sake of time and brevity, I will keep it simple, my answer, and just have you go to the page of on the YouTube channel SCI&U study and do the practices. I will be addressing pain management in the third section. This is I'm doing this sort of training in 3 sections, and we're just going into the second section right now. So working with pain takes a little bit more skill. We want to have you kind of, able to really do the conscious breathing and the kind attention and those other sensory awareness pieces. But we do know there's scads of research now that are showing that when we do practice mindfulness and we allow the brain to sort of observe, identify, but not identify necessarily with the particular pain area, we can start to do these beautiful places of giving the brain more plasticity, so more options. So it's not just stuck in this, I'm stuck on this loop of this hurts, because it isn't real anymore. There's often chronic pain. There's not even pain anymore. It's just the brain actually going through the loop. So there's lots of great research. Sonia, I have some work to do in getting some of these links up. So I need to get some of those up too. But in any case, Patty, what I will say is, like some of the stuff that I would do is just breathe into the pain, and invite and use the words calm and ease, or something that kind of brings to you. There's ways that we can work with pain when we're working with the brain and mindfulness. We can, give it, does the pain have a texture, a color? What do you notice when you feel the pain? So going into more of the awareness about it, and actually the more aware you can get, the less of a hold that pain will often, as you just said, with your psychologist, will have on you. And we will be doing a real big section on that at the very end of this towards September, in August.
Okay, well, thank you for that input, because I thought, if I start putting my mind, recognizing my pain, I thought, well,
Yeah.
Am I feeding my brain wrong, or?
No, you're on the right track for sure.
Okay.
But you want to feed it the right thing. So stay with us and keep practicing.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I guess I would mention that in the chat, Anne mentions that, I hate to put you on the spot, Anne, but Anne mentions that she has a practice that's helped her with pain. And I thought maybe if you'd like to share, details of your practice, that might be helpful.
Sure. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
I'm new to the Zoom thing. I just wanted to make sure you could hear me. I actually learned about mindfulness and meditation with chronic pain through the chronic pain clinic at Surrey Memorial Hospital. It was a course that ran for 6 to 8 weeks. I live with chronic pain in multiple areas of my body due to lupus, and it is very disabling. As I do a 20-minute activity of anything, I only live my life 20 minutes at a time to keep maintaining those pain levels and inflammation levels. But if I get up and do an activity, now over the years, I can start feeling the pain and inflammation rise. I just take a minute, where I'm on the couch or wherever, and I just do a quick 5-minute breathing technique, and I breathe in, focusing on one area of the pain at a time. You can't do it all, right? So say it's my neck. So you breathe in, focus on that area, and then as I exhale, I feel and try to picture that pain being pushed out. And I find that it just knocks it down maybe 1 or 2 decibels on that pain scale. And then as well with other, pain management techniques in my tool belt, if you will, it all kind of helps maintain on a daily basis. And I do it multiple times a day after anything. As soon as I feel those levels, get in it, do it for 5 minutes. It's so good. Thank you for letting me share. I'm a big fan of this.
Thank you. I love that so much. And it's just and it's really great sharing. And there's a couple things I want to just Rahu on you is you pause. And you also said, everything happens in a 20-minute segment. And in all truth, I think, and this goes for non-able, able bodies and disabled people as well, our body needs to shift every 20 minutes. If we sit for more than 45 minutes in any one given position, we start to build up a pressure in that bone. So, 20 minutes is like the minimum where you want to do a shift. And what a great thing that you're doing. You're pausing. Pause, take your breath, and do it multiple times throughout the day. This is fantastic. This is really
Then I get more done in a day too, right? There's more.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's, I have a small garden, and again, I can only go out there for 20 minutes. And believe me, I don't want to come in. But if I go in and I settle, and by the way, I do 20 minutes of activity and then I rest, depending on the day, anywhere from an hour to 2 hours before I do another 20-minute activity. But as soon as I come in, I do that 5-minute mindfulness breathing, and it's amazing how, just because, you get to that point sometimes where it's so bad you can't even focus, right? It just brings the edge off enough, and then you can use the rest of your pain management skills after that.
Yeah, that's great. That's probably why you get such a good rest after.
Oh, I'm very well rested throughout my day. But you know what? It is what it is. And the other thing, I've been living a life at home for 12 years, and I've just learned, and it took years, okay, but I've learned to just embrace it. I'm learning to enjoy the process. So a gardening project that could take me 2 hours now takes me 4 days, 20 minutes at a time, right? Or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, super good, good suggestions and sharing. I love it. And of course, we can't argue with reality, folks. So the best method to dealing with whatever it is to dive in, because the more you try and fight it, the worse it'll get. So embrace our reality.
Enjoy the process.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Lori also had a question.
Sure.
And again, Lori, I'll invite you to ask it on your own, although I can see it in the chat and can just read it too.
Hi, Lori.
Hi. Okay, I know this is a weird question, but I can do boxing, I can exercise, and it doesn't affect me the same way. When I meditate or do yoga, my body temperature goes up and I sweat. Why?
So you can exercise and do stuff and nothing bothers you. But when you do mindfulness or meditation or yoga, your body clams up, did you say, and you sweat?
No, it heats up.
It heats up.
And I sweat.
Okay.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'd have to think about that one. Do you sweat any other time? Do you normally sweat?
Not really, no.
So do you sweat because you're autonomic dysreflexic?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. So do you have, you're not quadriplegic, are you?
No, I
Okay.
had several pulsing attacks.
Okay. So sweating is a nervous system discharge. And off the top of my head, just from somatics, that would be something that I would be saying right off the top is, why is your nervous system discharging? Now, discharge isn't a bad thing. Often, especially for people who have paralysis and other things to deal with, and that don't have the normal outlets for energy to move out of the body, there may be a need for that to happen. But I'd have to maybe, I'd have to just kind of think about this one, Lori, and I can't give you an answer off the top except for that it's a discharge from your nervous system. What I would suggest is notice everything else that's also occurring at that time. So is your breathing smooth and even, or is it kind of labored, or is it fragmented? What is your breathing like?
Sometimes if I'm overly tired, I'll breathe heavy.
Okay, but in those,
I don't.
okay, but when you're noticing the sweat, what is your breathing like in that instance?
I'm just doing what everyone else is doing.
Okay, so my suggestion would be to, when you go and do mindfulness or meditation or yoga next, take some real dedicated time to really tune into what's happening before the sweat comes, and notice your breathing. And if your breathing is kind of jagged and a little bit unsteady, then we need to just kind of stop what you're doing, and we need to figure out a way to bring your breathing into a beautiful, smooth, rhythmic, calm, steady state. That would be my first suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And it may mean stopping what you're doing to do that. Like, it may mean just focusing on the breath, not doing whatever you were doing in any of those three different instances or practices, but just get the breathing to a smooth, rhythmic, sort of metronome-like state, and keep your awareness happening with all your other sensory input, so that we can kind of do the, the backwards kind of picking out the things that are, that may be problematic, or that may be, something we want to look at or address. I think that might be all the questions for today. So again, your homework or your practice will be to just take a pause and just be conscious of 3 slow kind of conscious breaths, and do that whenever you can throughout your day, and notice how that makes you feel, and even what you notice before you take your pause, how you're feeling, so that you can see if there's any change. Everybody take really good care of yourselves. Notice your beautiful hearts that are open right now, and keep them happy, and stay safe. And we will see you next week, I hope.